Hello and welcome to the United Stand. This is your Manchester United transfer news daily where we talk about all the latest Manchester United transfer news and give it that real fan opinion. And I'm very excited and enthusiastic this morning because James Rodriguez is probably a player we've mentioned every year we've been doing the United Stand for the last 3 years in the summer transfer window. He excites me. He's the sort of player we should sign. And I tell you what, I think he'd be absolutely perfect. But let's talk first about whether this deal actually could be done. Most people will be saying, it can't be done, it can't be done. He's on a 2-year loan from Real Madrid to Bayern Munich and they've got first option on signing him for 40 million euros. Yes, they do. And he's only been there a year. Spot on. But he hasn't started every game for Bayern Munich. I think he's only played about 24 games for them, which is about half. And also, most important of all, there are a few little hints that maybe, just maybe, Manchester United could sign him because Bayern Munich manager changes this summer. They're getting a new manager. Maybe that new manager won't want to keep him. Maybe they'll send him back to Real Madrid. If they send him back to Real Madrid, do Real Madrid want to keep him? Maybe they don't, and then that's maybe where Manchester United move in. Now, there were tentative reports, and they were in rubbish Spanish reports. I can't even remember the outlet saying that Mourinho had been speaking to Rodriguez, plotting a summer move for him. But if anyone can remember this, it was during the Manchester derby in April. The official Manchester United Twitter account for Spain just put a really weird tweet out saying James Rodriguez. And that happened. That actually happened. So what was that all about? Is that a little hint towards something? I mean, what does it mean anyway? But look, a lot of things have got to go our way for it to happen. And some people might be saying, I don't want James Rodriguez. For anyone who can remember last summer, we were talking about the same thing. Wonderful left foot was born from him. He's got a wonderful left foot. And I think that James Rodriguez would be brilliant for Manchester United. He's 27 in July, so that ticks a box for Mourinho. He's the finished article. He's got the same agent as Mourinho in George Mendes, but he's done it. He's been to France. He's been to Spain. He's done it in Germany. Premier League has got to be his next stop, surely. I think it'd be brilliant for Manchester United. I think Mata's coming towards the end, and Rodriguez. We need somebody who can create, and Can he create? His crossing ability is fantastic. He can score goals. He can run with the ball. He can pass. I think he'd be brilliant in the Premier League. I think he's a long shot, but out of all the long shots out there, I would really love to get James Rodriguez to Manchester United. I think he would be so good for us. Good at free kicks, good at crosses, flair player. I think Mourinho could get the best out of him. I think he's that right sort of age group as well. So let's see what happens with it. It's very early days. He could end up just staying at Bayern Munich and there's nothing we can do about it. Maybe we should have done it last summer, but I really would like him to come to United. The next player I want to talk about is Eden Hazard, who sent a transfer message to Manchester United. Basically, I think he was signing autographs and somebody said, what are the chances of you coming to Manchester United? Eden Hazard said, no chance. I've got a response to that for you as well. Up yours. Don't bloody want you anyway, you bottler. I mean, let's look at Eden Hazard. Very good player. But he has one good season, one lazy season. One good season, one lazy season. And actually, he appears to be one of the players who turned on Jose when the dressing room turned against him. I don't want Eden Hazard. He had his chance years ago and he chose Chelsea. United were in for him, City were in for him, Chelsea were in for him, and he went to Chelsea. I don't want Eden Hazard at Manchester United, so I don't care if there's no chance because I don't want you. I think he's a good player, but I think he's also a bit of a bottler player as well. I mean, Eden Hazard a couple of years ago, people were saying, oh, he's going to be the next Ronaldo or Messi. Is he? Hell, he's not. He's not going to do that because he's too up his own little bottom to put in the consistency week in, week out. So I don't want Eden Hazard, and I'm glad he said no chance because I don't want you anywhere near the club. Shakira. Shakira's Piqué's wife, by the way. But Shaqiri plays for Stoke and he's just been relegated. Now, Shaqiri is a weird one. He's a really weird one because he just always seems to appear around Manchester United. Now, I was doing funny enough, I was playing FIFA career mode last summer and I started off as Everton. I got the United job in the January and Shaqiri was part of the team. They'd bought him. And on the United Stand, a lot of people mention Shaqiri all the time, and I don't get it. I don't really get what the thing is with Shaqiri and Manchester United. It's a bit like Sir Alex Ferguson when I think it was Brian Kidd was on about John Hartson, and he was like, "Have a word with yourself. Is John Hartson a good player, but is he a United player?" And I feel like that about Shaqiri. Yeah, he's a decent player, but he should be going to Everton, not United. 26, just been relegated with Stoke. He's got a £12 million release clause if they're relegated. So, I mean, it's a snip, isn't it? But even at that, I don't see what he brings to us. He's one of those players that when we've played him in the past and he's been up for it, he's played very well. He's got a very good left foot. But I just don't see him as a top 4 player. I really don't. If he was a top 4 player, you know, people like Wilfried Zaha, I don't believe are a top 4 player. But they consistently do it for Crystal Palace. Week in, week out, he's doing it for them. Shaqiri does it every now and again for Stoke. He doesn't do it week in, week out. And I think to become a top 4 player, you've got to be a player who's doing it week in, week out. So it's not for me. It isn't for me. But I have mentioned it because people wanted me to mention it. A little bit on Martial, I just wanted to feed in as well. Lots and lots of people that we sort of speak to in the summer and throughout the season, but they come into their own in the summer. Unfortunately, a couple of people I was speaking to last night, they're sort of saying that Martial is going to go, which I'm sort of glad where I am with it now. I've said this on the Skype show last night. Make sure you watch that today, actually, if you've got a spare half an hour. Some brilliant calls. But I think if I'd heard this news last week, I would have been absolutely irate, and I know a lot of you are. But after Friday night, a penny dropped. It did. And it was like, forget what Mourinho's doing to Martial. He's wasting a talent there. And I firmly believe that. He's wasting a talent. I moved on to what's best for Martial because he's my favourite player. And I want him to be a success at Manchester United, but it's not going to happen. So instead of thinking about that and the frustration from Mourinho, I moved to Martial and I thought, well, what's actually better for him? And actually, it's not better for him to be sat on the bench with a manager like Mourinho who slates him all the time and won't let him make mistakes and won't let him develop. And it's very sad to let him go, and I still really hope he stays. But what I'm hearing is he's going to go, and I wish him all the best. I wish him all the best. I hope he goes and absolutely tears it up. And, you know, I'll be very sad about that, and some United fans will be, but we'll always know that we thought he was fantastic and he should have been given games here. I hope the same happens with Luke Shaw as well, if he goes. I hope the same happens as well, because I believe he can be a top left back as well. But we'll just have to wait and see what happens with it, won't we? Anyway, get your comments in below. What are your thoughts on James Rodriguez? I'm really excited today. I love the transfer window. I love the transfer window because your mood's up and down. You get linked to players. You get really excited. If you're like me and you're really interested in the wider world of football and all different players, you know. And Rodriguez is just a player that I know would be a success at United, and he would deliver the things that Mourinho wants, that consistency, that creativity, that player at the top of his game. I'm just not sure we can do it, but there is a glimpse. There is a chink in the armour. His client is Mourinho's agent. Bayern Munich are changing their manager. If we went in and give Real Madrid 60 million, we get him, and he's worth 60 million. I think Bayern Munich, correct me if I'm wrong, I think Bayern Munich, they've got him on a 2-year loan with the first option to sign him for 40 million quid. I mean, bloody hell. What were we doing? Why were we not in for that? It makes no sense. It makes no sense. Anyway, remember, 7 o'clock every morning, we've got the Transfer Daily. Support it, drop a like on it, and get commenting below. I mentioned Khedira yesterday. Wasn't even in the news. Just started putting 2 and 2 together. Give us your thoughts below, because you might have some interesting sort of predictions of what we might be looking at, because I think there will be a few shocks this summer. Thanks for watching, and 1 o'clock today for the West Ham preview. See you soon.